Have you ever watched someone cook fish? The moment the oil begins to whisper and bubble, they panic, poking, stirring, churning again and again. The sound of sizzling becomes a sound of fear. They can't stand still, they must do something. And in the end, what remains is not a dish, but fragments. A meal ruined not by ignorance, but by the inability to let things be. Leadership, sometimes, looks exactly like that. Many leaders, in nations, in companies, even in families, move in the same restless rhythm. Always adjusting, always correcting, always afraid that if they do not act, things will fall apart. But perhaps the opposite is true. They say there was once a young king, restless, ambitious, and desperate to control. He summoned the ancient sage Lao Tzu and asked, "How should I govern my vast kingdom so that everything runs perfectly?" The old master smiled gently and said only one sentence: "To govern a great nation is like cooking a small fish." The court fell silent. Ministers frowned. The young king looked confused. A small fish? What could that possibly mean? Was the sage warning him not to stir too much, or hinting that power itself spoils when overhandled? No one truly knows if this meeting ever happened. Perhaps it was never an event, but a legend whispered through generations to remind us of the subtle art of non-interference. Still, the lesson lives on, like the quiet fragrance left behind after the incense has burned out. In the Tao Te Ching, Chapter 60, Lao Tzu wrote, "Govern a great state as you would cook a small fish. A fish, if stirred too often, breaks apart. So does a nation or a company, when its leader cannot stop correcting, adjusting, meddling." Taoism teaches that the more we force control, the more harmony dissolves. The more rules we impose, the more cleverness appears to escape them. The more we command, the more resentment grows in silence. The paradox is timeless. What you try to grasp too tightly will always slip through your fingers. The river never holds itself. It flows, and by flowing, it shapes the world. Lao Tzu called this Wu Wei. Effortless action, the art of acting without forcing, leading without dominating. It is not laziness, it is precision, like the archer who releases the bowstring, not through tension, but through trust. In leadership, Wu Wei is the still center, around which motion happens naturally. It is the wisdom to design a system that does not need your constant hand, to create an ecosystem that breathes and grows on its own. Think of a mountain spring, pure, unhurried, unstoppable. It nourishes everything it touches, without ever trying to be powerful. That is the Tao of true leadership. Today, we call it micromanagement. The leader who checks every detail, approves every move, corrects every flaw, believing nothing works without their touch. They say, "If I don't do it myself, it won't be done right." But the more they tighten their grip, the less alive their team becomes. The more they interfere, the less people think for themselves. Soon, creativity dies quietly, motivation fades, and all that remains is compliance, not commitment. A wise leader understands control and chaos are not opposites. They are partners in balance. Too little control, and disorder reigns. Too much, and vitality disappears. A good leader doesn't build a cage. They build a garden. They do not command growth. They create the conditions for growth. They plant trust. They water autonomy. They prune only what blocks the light. And then, they step back, because no flower blooms under the pressure of a clenched fist. In the Tao of leadership, you don't push people forward. You open the space ahead so that they can walk on their own. You don't force harmony. You remove what disrupts its flow. When you trust your system, when you trust your people, you are no longer managing. You are cultivating. And that cultivation is more powerful than control. It transforms authority into gravity. A quiet pull, not a loud command. That is what it means to govern without ruling. Now, look inward. Think of your own team, your family, your relationships, your life. Where are you stirring the fish too much? Where are you trying to fix things that would find their own balance if you simply gave them time? Sometimes we interfere, not because others need us to, but because we need to feel needed. We confuse control with care, effort with wisdom, and movement with meaning. But the Tao whispers differently. The soft overcomes the hard. The slow surpasses the swift. If you can sit still while others rush, you will see what they cannot see. If you can trust the flow, you will arrive without striving. Breathe. Step back. Let what is capable be capable. Let what is growing grow. Let the water clear itself. The world does not always need your hand. Sometimes, it only needs your stillness. Lao Tzu never sought to command the world. He simply understood its flow. To lead others, you must first learn to lead your own energy. If your inner world is chaotic, your outer world will mirror it. If your mind is calm, your presence will command without effort. The great Tao does not strive, yet everything is accomplished. The wise leader does not shout, yet all are moved. Govern lightly, lead softly, and you will rule without ruling. Because in the end, leadership is not about holding the fish. It is about knowing when to stop stirring the pan